You are making the world a better place by listening to the Joy of Living podcast. This is your guide to achieving a more purposeful, powerful, and positive life. Join Barry Shore in unlocking the best version of you and becoming happier, healthier, and wealthier. And now, here's your ambassador of joy, Barry Shore.
Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good-looking people. Remember, you're good-looking because you're always looking for and finding the good. And then you found good in abundance, overflowing. Oh, especially today. This is a Mightylicious podcast you're going to be involved with. And I want to applaud you because what you've done is to use your most valuable asset, your time, to consciously and conscientiously tune into the joy of living with your humble host, Barry Shore. And you know that on this show, we discuss the three fundamentals of life. And when you use these three fundamentals, you will be happier, healthier, and wealthier. Who doesn't want that? And these three fundamentals, of course, are, number one, life. Your life has purpose. And when you lead a purpose-driven life, number two happens. Now, in this case, a good number two. You go MAD. Now, MAD is a wonderful acronym that stands for make a difference. Lead a purpose-driven life, you make a difference in the world. And the third fundamental is to uncover the power and the secrets of everyday words and terms. Simple example. Right now, this wonderful show, The Joy of Living, is carried around the world through this amazing medium called the internet. Now, you're being joined right now, by the way, by approximately 348,613 people, and many more coming on before we bring on wonderful Carolyn and talking about Mightylicious. But right now, the world is listening. And how's it doing? It's through the internet. Ask anybody, what does www stand for? And very much has to do with the internet. And factually speaking, they're correct. Now, in our world, the world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, WWW stands for what a wonderful world. And what is a word, right? WHATA. And thank you, of course, Louis Armstrong Satchel for enabling that song to go viral and not just touch tens of millions, hundreds of millions, billions of people around the planet. And whenever you hear the opening bars of what a wonderful world, what do you do right away? You can't help but just smile. Now, smile is one of the most important words you could ever integrate, utilize, and leverage in your life, because SMILE is an acronym that stands for seeing miracles in life every day. Every day. Now, recently I spoke to group. We have 1,172 people in the audience. And I'm telling you a story about Barry Shore, lots of high energy and hugging and all kinds of stuff. And I tell the story about seeing miracles in life every day. Some people raise their hands and say, hey, Barry Shore, I've been up for hours. I haven't seen any miracles. And I ask them, are you here? Can you hear? Can you stand still? I can't do that. Can you walk? I can barely do that. Do you have water to drink? Do you have food to eat, place to sleep, family, friends? Every single one of those is a miracle. And what's the proof? Simple as proof. 1 million people didn't get out of bed this morning. You know why? They died. By definition, if you're watching or you're listening, you didn't. Therefore, you have an obligation to live life to the full, to live exuberantly. Again, you'll be happier, healthier, and wealthier. So I just want to tell you a quick story. Imagine if you can, this story about me. Imagine if you can, standing up in the morning, hale and hearty, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound, and that evening being in the hospital totally, completely paralyzed from the neck down. It's called being a quadriplegic. Nothing in my body moved. I could only communicate by blinking my eyes. I was 144 days in the hospital. I was 2 years in a hospital bed, my own home. I couldn't turn over by myself. 4 years in a wheelchair. I had braces on both my legs, my hips to my ankles, and that was progress. Thank God today I'm able to be vertical and ambulatory with the help of a 7-foot walking wand. So I'm a triped, not a biped. Can't walk up a stair by myself. I can't walk up a curb by myself. And I've helped 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. But you hear my voice. Positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant. All because of this one word. Smile. I got to tell you a cute one. My 8-year-old niece comes over to me a few weeks ago and says, Uncle Barry, can we spell smile S-M-I-E-L? I thought about it. Smile sounds the same. Why not? Ask her how come. She says, because then it would stand for seeing miracles in everyday life. out of the mouth of an 8-year-old. What was she doing? She was creating the kind of world she wants to live in. Now, CREATE is a wonderful acronym that stands for causing rethinking, enabling all to excel. It's what we call a shift in perspective. Now, shift is an amazing word. It's the title of my new book called Oh Shift. And you got to keep your F in place or the other stuff happens. Be careful with your Fs. Shift perspective just a little bit, and then you'll be able to internalize, utilize, and leverage the 6 most important words you'll ever learn. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. How you choose to respond in any given situation will determine the pathway of your life and the trajectory. Now, before we bring on wonderful, amazing Carolyn to discuss with us about Mightylicious and great stuff for you, I want to urge everybody to understand that I do use a lot of 4-letter words. I even use the 4-letter FU word, and I do it because it's fun and the shock value. Now, of course, the 4-letter words that we use, because we live in the world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, are love, life, hope, free, gift, pray, play, swim. And the 4-letter FU word is fun. Fun, yes. FU, capital N, capital N. So after the show, when you see your family and friends, I want you to point your finger and say, FU, everybody. But add right away, capital N, capital N. Say, what are you talking about? So I'm listening to Barry Shore, The Joy of Living, and he wants to teach the world to FU, capital N, capital N. They'll be opening to discuss what we're going to talk about today, which is Mightylicious, baby. Now, before we bring on amazing Carolyn, I want to urge everybody to use the 2 most important words in the English language. Most important, most powerful. I want you to use them 3 times a day, consciously and conscientiously. They are, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank stands for to harmonize and nurture kindness. Imagine you walk into your coffee shop, you order your fancy latte, and you sit down, somebody brings it to you. Say thank you. Go to the coffee shop, you order your fancy latte. A couple of minutes go by, nobody brings it. You go to the counter and say, I'm sorry, we forgot, we're so busy. You'll bring it, sit down, another minute goes by, somebody brings it, still say, thank you. You're walking out of the coffee shop, it's raining out. Somebody holds the door open for you. You say, thank you. You're walking out of the coffee shop, somebody slams the door on you. You say, thank you. You're late for the appointment, you're in traffic, somebody cuts you off. You say, thank you. You get up in the middle of the night and you stub your toe and it hurts. You say, yes, thank you. To harmonize and nurture kindness. KIND is a fabulous acronym. It stands for keep inspiring noble deeds. I can't think of anybody that inspires noble deeds more than wonderful, fabulous, amazing Carolyn Hayler. Carolyn, please say hello to 366,922 people around the world.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for listening.
Well, Carolyn is so understated, but she is a powerhouse, and I am so honored and humbled that she agreed to be on the show today. And we're going to be discussing things that really touch the very being. Because remember, we talked about the 6 most important words. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. How you respond to any given situation. I'm going to tell 3 things about Carolyn. One of them is going to make her smile, but all 3 of them are interesting. Number 1, she went to a place called Colby College. Now, there are hundreds of thousands of people around the world who have no idea what I just said. I know exactly where Colby College is, and I've been there. See, I got the response. If you're watching, you see her, because I'm born in Dorchester, Boston, Massachusetts, raised in Brookline, and I had friends who lived in Waterville, Maine.
Wow, water, you even know where it is.
Right, and Colby is it's a great school, and you went there for arts and such like that. So you're an artist, as we say. I can do the accent still. You're an artist. But the other interesting point is that she went to the Yale School of Management. Now, if you've ever heard of Yale, then you're not living in the world. So you can still look it up. But it's not a simple place to get into and to graduate from and to learn. It's Yale School of Management. And then she worked on Wall Street in equity and for a stockbroker. And all of that is preamble. You hear this? It's all preamble to what the reason she's here today and what she's doing in the world, which is delivering healthy, beneficial product in the form of cookies. So she's not Mrs. Fields. This is a different kind of cookie. Those cookies can kill you if you have celiac disease or you have an allergic reaction to gluten. So I'm going to talk less and have Carolyn speak more because she's absolutely beautiful. If you're watching, you're enjoying her smile. And if you're just listening, well, you'll listen to a great voice. But let's just jump right in, wonderful Carolyn, and discuss, first of all, what happened for you. I don't want to say to you. Well, obviously, that's the way people think, but for you, when at an age, let's say, I'm just making it up and saying you were 25. I don't know what the age was. And you are now pronounced by your doctor or doctors that you have celiac disease, which most people, 99.2% of the world, can't spell it. Celiac is Celiac, celiac disease. It affects, I think I looked it up, about 200,000 people every year. So It's a growing population, unfortunately, and it has all kinds of ramifications and negative responses to eating gluten, which, by the way, is in many products, if not most products, manufactured as processed food. And it can lead to heightened nerve damage and neuropathy and such, which is what I had that's how I became paralyzed. So I know a little bit about this stuff. So let's just jump right in and say, less Barry, more Carolyn, and let's just please educate us about celiac disease, how it happened for you. And now let's talk about response. So let's just begin the process of the journey. Okay?
Yeah. So as you stated, I was not born with celiac disease or any kind of food allergies at all. I lived a very full life and ate everything in the 80s and 90s, most of which was not good for us back then. I had the opportunity to study abroad in Italy. I've lived in Switzerland. I've eaten all of the cakes and the pastries and the baguettes and the beer at the baseball games, all the things. And I love food. It's part of our culture. And it's, even if you're not a food lover per se, once it's taken away from you, you start to appreciate how important it is to your everyday life. And just to your mood and to your mental health and all physical health, mental health, food is part of all of these things. And so when I was 32, when I was diagnosed with celiac disease.
I'm sorry, you said 32?
I was 32 years old. Yep.
32. The height of youth.
At the height of youth, that was the strongest I'd ever been. But at the time, I'd become the weakest. And you say it was something that happened. Like, it was actually, finding out with celiac disease was actually a gift, because I was so ill that my doctor looked at me and said, maybe you have HIV. And this was after 9 months of testing. And I was like, maybe you should have tested for that like sooner.
It's only 9 months, like giving birth. Hello.
Yeah. And my hair was falling out. My skin had turned gray.
God.
My immune system was failing. I was incredibly ill and in a lot of physical pain. And so HIV wasn't a ridiculous guess, given that every other test we'd done had come back negative, including dairy and gluten and all those things. I finally went in for a colonoscopy and endoscopy, and they found the antibodies in my colon and diagnosed me with celiac disease. And so that was actually a joyous day for me.
Wait a minute. I want to put this in context just to unpack something. First of all, colonoscopy, I've had 2 done. It's not what you call something you look forward to on your calendar.
No.
By the same token, you just heard how wonderful Carolyn is and what now she's going to be able to do with this process, that the colonoscopy was joyful because the result was beneficial. And now she can choose how she wants to respond to this.
Absolutely. Life is definitely about choices and how you respond to things. And I was diagnosed, I think, like 2 days before Thanksgiving. And as you stated, gluten is in everything. Even though I'd done elimination diets, because we're sort of just guessing and trying to figure things out, I didn't realize that gluten is in things like Coca-Cola. It's in caramel color. So it's in Coca-Cola, it's in ginger ale, it's in soy sauce, because we use wheat to create soy sauce. It's in spices. Like, I've been glutened by cinnamon before, where gluten is a term we say when you're trying to avoid gluten and it gets you. Where I was sprinkling cinnamon. The only ingredients on the label say cinnamon on my coffee. So a sprinkle of cinnamon on my coffee in the morning was causing me to react. And why would you think that there's gluten in coffee? And you don't, because what I learned once you're like, this is my thing, you learn a lot about it. Gluten is used as a color. So it's in caramel color. It's in ginger ale. I actually just learned that it's in ginger ale because ginger ale isn't even brown. It's in caramel color. It's used as a preservative. So it can be in things like cold cuts. It could be in your deli meats. It's also a filler. So it can be in things like cinnamon, where, large companies are able to skim a few cents off the bottom line by using gluten, which is cheaper than a spice, as a filler. So it ends up like, I love sushi. They put gluten in imitation crab. Like, why would imitation crab have gluten in it? But it does. All of these things have gluten in them. So it becomes this educational process for how do I now nourish my body? And for me, I'd been a lifelong athlete. At the time, I had taken up CrossFit. I run 5 miles in the park every day. And
just your regular person walking around, completely, totally healthy.
Yeah. And then my immune system was failing me. And I was in, gluten also causes inflammation. So my joints were inflamed or hurt to get out of bed. And my stomach was bloated to the point of pain. Like I couldn't close my pants, my hair was falling out, all of those things. The second I knew I had celiac disease, I was like, okay, I'm only going to eat fruit, things that come off trees, things that are pulled out of the ground, meats from the butcher, right? Kosher meat from the butcher. I know that.
I'm going the whole route.
Yeah. Nothing else. And within 48 hours, my body began healing itself. The color came back.
I want to unpack something here because, again, I'm going to make categorical statements. You can say, Barry, sure, interesting, but you're all wet. The ability for the body to heal itself is so powerful that when you combine what you did, wonderful Carolyn, which is your mind, and making a decision saying, I'm going to eat things that I know, KNOW, will not have gluten in them, i.e. fruit from the tree, fresh meat from the butcher, kosher even. I mean, all, the highest level of stuff. Mm-hmm. And guess what the body said to you? Thank you, my beloved Carolyn. I'm going to give you back what you deserve, which is your life, your health. Is that fair to say that your mind and body combined? Because without your mind, you see, you weren't thinking about it and really understanding what to do, well, then you're just going to suffer. But you chose not to suffer, you see? This is the genius of it. And your body responded quickly.
Immediately. It was like, my brother is a paramedic and my sister is also in the medical field, my little sister, and they were like amazed. They were like, they saw me for Thanksgiving. They're like, we can't believe how much better you look. And it had been 48 hours. And another thing about celiac disease, there's gluten intolerance. Celiac disease is an autoimmune disease. And one of the reasons it will kill me if I don't manage it. It's not something to be messed around with. I create antibodies that attack my colon and destroy. The reason why it's called celiac, there's cilia in the colon that absorb the nutrients from the food. I create antibodies that destroy those cilia. So the more gluten that I consume, the less my body is actually able to physically absorb nutrition. So
I'm interested in something, if I may, because I believe I'm speaking now for hundreds of thousands of people. And I say this not mockingly, but is there not some sort of test that one could do, like a blood test, and you look at the thing and say, oh, well, guess what? Your panel shows that you have celiac disease. There's nothing like that at all?
No, they did. And I took it and it was negative. So there's a lot of people.
You needed to go deep inside of your being.
You actually had to physically go find the antibodies through the colonoscopy. Yeah. And there's a lot of people, because I talk to people who have gluten. There's also gluten intolerance, which is an allergy. And a lot of those people, I believe, have celiac disease. They're just not diagnosed with it because they didn't have a colonoscopy. And by the way, colonoscopy and endoscopies are expensive and procedures, right? So it's not, you have to make a schedule with a surgeon. You have to take the entire day off of work. There's a lot of practical things that are, not easy for many people. Unfortunately, I work in finance. I have the capital and the time and the PTO to be able to manage that. I was also a single person, but if you're a mom or someone who is working more from paycheck to paycheck, that's not an easy thing to do. So I was very lucky that I had the privilege to be able to get those procedures and to find that diagnosis. A lot of people are just living with celiac disease, not knowing they have it, and managing the symptoms the best they can.
So let's take a pause here, and we're going to just take a short break. You should go and listen to our sponsors, and if you can, use their services, because we wouldn't have them on if we didn't trust them. They're really good. And we're going to come back and we're going to learn about Carolyn's response to this, and you're just going to be amazed, because it's Mightylicious on the other side. So we'll be right back after this brief message. Don't go away. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Hey, everybody. You know me, Barry Shore, and you know my story. Standing up in the morning, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound, that night being in the hospital, totally, completely paralyzed. Talk about a change of life. I was faced with lots of issues, difficulties, paths forward, if there was to be one. And I'm here to tell you that finding advice from professional people makes all the difference, certainly in my life. And I would urge everybody to consider doing so in your life. And if you've ever had the opportunity to find someone or some two people that are really matched up with you, then it makes a difference. I urge you to consider using BetterHelp. BetterHelp, if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, so it's designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill in a brief questionnaire, I've done it, to get matched with a licensed therapist, and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. This is your opportunity to make a difference and become the best you possible. Let therapy be your map with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/joy of living today and get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/joy of living. BetterHelp, HELP.com/joy of living. Best wishes. Bye now. Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved immortal beings, and good-looking people. Maybe good-looking, because you're always looking for and finding good. A cup runneth over with good. Her name is Carolyn, and she has been discussing with us things that she's gone through in life, and finally finding out that she has celiac disease, which attacks the very being. It's an autoimmune disease like I had, which attacked me and caused me to be completely paralyzed. So I know from autoimmune diseases, it's a catch-all. But she has something called celiac disease, which means that when she ingests things that have gluten, she's literally attacking her body and killing herself. So what did Carolyn do? Okay, Carolyn, what did you do? You're so mighty. What did you do?
Yeah, I decided to leave my comfy job in finance and become an entrepreneur. And it wasn't immediate. So I was diagnosed in 2012. I incorporated my company in 2017. And over that time, I learned to live with celiac disease. I learned how to manage the disease. I learned how to nourish myself, what type of foods that I could enjoy. And when you do have an elimination diet, like you're gluten-free or you're vegan for various reasons, any type of lifestyle, there is a lot you miss out on in things that even I didn't anticipate not missing out on. Like, I am a Yankees fan, and going to the ball game is important to me, and not being able to drink a beer at a Yankees game actually is really sad for me. I didn't think that.
Wait a minute, I can believe it. By the way, you used a fascinating phrase, an elimination diet. In other words, the diet was to heal you, to cure you. And anybody who chooses to become, let's say, a vegan or a paleo, whatever they decide to do, you're eliminating other choices.
Yes.
And that elimination diet now, at one and the same time, constricts you and focuses you.
Yes.
And recognize, okay, you can't go out for a beer with the kids or have pizza. I'm not making it
Exactly.
up.
No, yeah, you can't have pizza. You can't have birthday cake anymore. Right. These are like, and you start to realize you used to look at food as like this daily thing you did and part of your routine. And then you realize how important food is and as part of ceremony. And it's not, food is obviously part of like very deliberate ceremonies, but food is also part of like just everyday ceremony, like a beer at a baseball game or a cupcake at a party. Right?
Or a cookie.
Or a
Hello.
cookie.
Who doesn't love
you're
cookies?
Tired at the end of the day and you need something to make you smile. Right. And so a lot of the things that are comforting are made out of wheat. Let's just be honest about it. Pasta is comforting. Cookies are comforting. Bread is comforting. Beer is comforting. These are all comfort foods. These are things that we turn to when we need a little bit of support. It's emotional support at times. And that's okay. A cookie is supposed to make you smile, make you happy. A beer is supposed to be a part of a fun activity. It's supposed to be a little bit relaxing. It's blowing off steam. All of these things are important to a healthy lifestyle. And when you have celiac disease or Crohn's disease or many other autoimmune disease or out there that require an elimination diet, you lose the ability to like just chill.
I personally, because of my situation later in life, I became adult diabetes. Mm-hmm. So I have some sense of this. Obviously, I'm not strict on it, not obviously. And that's one of the things that I want to have you really discuss now is something that you made me aware of. It's called the Better For You marketplace.
Yes.
There's a whole world, and I'm going to make an interesting distinction here. I think you're going to smile. So I like doing research and things like that. And recently I was on a show and we discussed something called mistakes. And one of the mistakes, the famous mistake, is how the potato chip came into being. And it was a famous story. It happened in Saratoga, New York. And it was a chef who didn't like what the particular patron said about the way he prepared French fries. So he sliced the potatoes super thin and put them in oil and served it. Nobody had ever done that before. And voila, potato chips were born. Well, potato chips is a $34 billion business today, and they are not that good for you. Now, okay, everyone knows that. There is a whole other world that you made me aware of, thank you, called the Better For You, those three words, Better For You marketplace. Mm-hmm. Snacks and things like that, mm-hmm. which thank God is a $39 billion industry. So you're part of the Better For You market, right?
Absolutely. We are a Better For You product. And I want to be clear about Better For You. This is not a diet product. You can't eat a whole bag of cookies.
Wait a minute. Okay, wait a minute. That is the warning. The warning label is don't eat a bag of these cookies and think that you're doing something that's going to cure you of anything. Yeah. You can. It's
still
celiac disease.
A dessert. And so I think that's something I want to be upfront about and honest about because it is better for you than the alternative. It is not the same health benefits of eating broccoli and carrots.
Wait a minute. You're telling us inside baseball, she's making a broccoli and carrot cookie. Okay.
I am not. No. My cookie is made out of butter, palm oil, and sugar. There's yes, there's this Better For You category. And it's people who are in this elimination or lifestyle diet, whether it's gluten or vegan or things like that, know it very well. But it's becoming much more mainstream as the general public is becoming more aware of how food impacts their mental health, their physical health, their everyday well-being. And they're wanting better alternatives, and they want things without hydrogenated oil and preservatives and colors and things that they know based on their research are not good for them. But they still want food that tastes good. And that's where I really saw the opportunity in the market. I had been gluten-free for 5 years by 2017. I've been working very long hours, living a very stressful life, managing that
Excuse me,
stress.
I want to put you on pause just a
Yeah.
moment. Everything you just heard from Carolyn, it means she's a true entrepreneur. That's what entrepreneurs do. They work long hours, stressful life, et cetera, because she's on a mission.
Yes.
When you're mission driven, this is what happens. And by the way, thank you for doing this. So talk to us about first of all, how'd you even think of this? Why cookies?
Yeah, no, I don't know. So I've always baked, like my interest. So I have an art degree and I have a degree in economics. I've always been interested in business and sort of the intersection of like art and science. I think that's all very fascinating. I love finance because while it's very numerical, your finance is ultimately making people's dreams come true, whether you're giving them a loan for a house or you're issuing a bond for a company to buy a new building. All of these things are attached to people's dreams and making things happen. And I love that. That's something that makes me really excited and happy. So I'm living with this disease. I'm buying these products that are very expensive. A package of gluten-free cookies can cost $9 to $10, whereas like Oreos cost $3.99. Very expensive. And I was finding that the products were just not even edible. Like I would buy the cookies, and a cookie is sugar, butter, and flour, right? That's not complicated. It should taste good. We're genetically programmed to enjoy sugar, butter, and flour. And I would throw them out. They were so gross. Like I wouldn't even continue.
So wait a minute, you're telling me things were overpriced, not tasty, and yet people were buying because on some level there was no real good alternative, i.e. opportunity in the marketplace.
It's a captive audience you have when you have an autoimmune disease or an allergy. And in my opinion, companies were exploiting that. And I was, working at the time, I was working at a hedge fund, which didn't like the culture, didn't like the people. It was Christmas time. So I had been shopping all day, and I looked at my watch, it was like 3 p.m, and I'm online and there's like 100 people in front of me, and I'm starving, I'm tired, I'm unhappy in my job. And so I see this package of gluten-free cookies and a cookie as I'm waiting in line. So I grab them, and a cookie is supposed to make you happy. What I needed in this moment is like to smile. It says
smile, remember, smile stands for seeing miracles in life every day. That's what you reached for when you went for that cookie.
I needed a miracle. Yes. So I grab the package, and it's in this beautiful packaging, and it says, artisanal and made by an executive chef. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be great. It's so bad that I spit it out. It was so gross. It was so terrible.
I mean, it was gluten-free. The whole point was it was gluten-free, but it wasn't comforting.
No, not at all. Even it's so bad. It was at the time. It's gotten better. This been like 5 years now. At the time, once I came up with this idea, I bought all the gluten-free products at a grocery store for my parents. My mother's reaction when I opened the packages was, "It smells like dog food." I was like,
by the way, it may have been that if you gave it to the dogs, even they wouldn't eat it.
Yeah, exactly. Like this isn't something you would want to feed to your dogs. So I'm like holding this package of cookies. They're $10. And I'm like, maybe I could just put them back on the shelf. I'm like, no, I need to buy them now. I open them. So I buy them and I throw them out before I even leave the store. So the package of cookies doesn't even get into my car, right? It doesn't even get back on my shelf at home. And in that moment, I remembered I went to Yale Business School, as you mentioned, and I had the fortune of having Barry Nailbuff, who is one of the founders of Honest Tea, as a professor, and Seth Goldman, who I haven't met, but he's like, a big deal at Yale because he's the other co-founder of Honest Tea, and it's this mission-driven company. And I remember they just started the company literally in their kitchen, and then walked into a Whole Foods, put their tea in a Snapple bottle. Everyone's heard the story, put their label on it, walked into a Whole Foods, and that was it. And so that's what I did. I literally was left my job. I was like, I hate this job. I'm going to make the best gluten-free cookie in the world. It was just that moment that literally like pushed me over the edge. I was like, the world deserves a cookie. People like me deserve a cookie. Like just how hard can it be? So I incorporated my company. I started testing recipes in my studio apartment. It took about 3 months, and people ask me like how long it took me. I baked 12 to 15 hours a day, every single day for 3 months before I had a cookie that I was proud of and that was stable and that I could reproduce.
I want to put it on pause for a moment because let's analyze it. Let's just call it 100 days and 12 hours a day. So that's 1,200 to 1,500 hours. If you use that, let's say over the course, that's a year. It's a year of work. And then at the moment, I'm going to call it flubber. Now, you don't know what I'm talking about when I say flubber. You have to look it up. Everybody should do a search for Flubber. It's one of Disney's greatest movies, made 50 years ago, probably. And it was an experiment in something that was better than rubber. It's called Flubber. But do you remember when you tasted the cookie that you said, this is it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was like, wow, that's the best cookie I've ever, period. Like, cause I'd eaten all the normal cookies at this point in my life. I know what a cookie should taste like. I'd been baking cookies my whole life with wheat flour. And I was like cause it's a brown butter cookie. It was caramely. It had that butterscotch.
Wow.
It was sweet. It was soft in the middle. It had just the right amount of chocolate. I was like, this is it. This is it. And so I was still like in the mindset of research and development and prototyping. But I was like, I'm going to do what they taught me in business school and I'm going to go get some feedback. So I put my cookies in a tin, like I bought some coffee bags off of Amazon, just some craft tin tie coffee bags. You can buy them for 50 of them at a time. I have an art degree, so I designed my own labels, put labels on the front and the back, just copied the other things.
Wait a minute. I want to unpack something for the moment, put her on pause. I know I'm doing this frequently, but it's important. Carolyn went to Colby College. Now, again, I'm going to mention to you Colby College. It's one of the best schools in the United States of America. I'm just letting you know. Very few people know. It's a small school. It's not inexpensive, by the way. It's one of the best schools in America. And she has a double degree in, studio art and economics. So you're talking about brains and beauty coming together to create this packaging, because she understands that packaging is important. What the eye perceives, it now makes the mouth water. Mm-hmm. And when you open it up, and now she's delivering on the promise. Let's hear this, because she made a lot of purchases that didn't deliver on the promise.
They did not.
She's delivering on the promise. I'm saying this because we have so many people that I encourage to be entrepreneurs. And I don't care if you're working in a company with 10,000 or 50,000, 100,000 employees, or you're working in a company with 50 employees. You're your own entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. And you need to understand that delivering value means that what it is you're representing is real. And now you can honestly, like honesty, walk into a Whole Foods or at any other supermarket or any other place where food is being offered and knowing that this is good for people.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, what a feeling.
Yeah. I also in that moment decided to put my name on the packaging. So every package from then until today says handcrafted by Carolyn. And that has really helped guide me and my principles and the quality and who I partner with and what I allow the product to be. Because once you start going, there's all these other external forces trying to get you to do something that may or may not be in line with what you want. But just having my name on that packaging makes it crystal clear what the product has and needs to be. So I walk in, so I'm like, okay, I create this one bag of cookies. It's the best cookies I've ever made. I walk into the Whole Foods. I live on 72nd Street in Manhattan. I walk into there's a Whole Foods on 86th Street. I walk in not knowing anything at this point, just being like, I just want to talk to someone about cookies. Maybe this is the place. I walk in, I go to the information booth and I say, I make gluten-free cookies and I, want some feedback. The woman looks at me earnestly and says, yeah, go talk to Chris at the bakery section. I was like, okay. So I walk over to the bakery and I'm like, Chris, and there's this man standing behind the cakes and he goes, that's me. And I go, hi, I'm Carolyn. I make gluten-free cookies. I have celiac disease. I'd love some feedback. And he goes, yeah, let me taste them. He takes one bite and goes, "That's the best gluten-free cookie I've ever tasted." He goes, "My name is Chris. I'm the team leader here." And I don't know what that means. He goes, "Go down to Union Square and go down to Brooklyn, go to the Whole Foods there, ask for the team leader. It's Stephanie. I forget the other person's name. If we all email the regional team at the same time at headquarters, they might onboard you as part of our food forager program." And I was like, "Okay, great." And like, so like I go from like feedback to like, okay, Whole Foods. I end up going down to Union Square, but Stephanie's not there. She comes in on Saturday. So I go back Saturday morning before 9 a.m. because apparently that Whole Foods is crazy at 9 a.m. on a Saturday. Talk to Stephanie. Stephanie says the same thing. She goes, "This is the best gluten-free cookie I've ever tasted." Because we have this other brand. We sell millions of them. They're not even edible. I was like, I know. She goes, "Just by the way, our entire regional team is at the grand opening of the Harlem Whole Foods right now. All of them are up there. Get in a cab and go up there." So I'm like, timing is like everything at this point. I jump into a taxi cab. I
hope it wasn't a taxi. Was it an Uber or a taxi?
It was a taxi. I didn't.
Wow. No, I like it even better.
Yeah. No, it was a taxi.
Taxi, go.
A taxi from 14th Street to 120th Street is no
Right.
small.
It's $50, but who cares?
Yeah. So I jump in this taxi and I go up there and I walk into this Whole Foods and no one's in there because it's brand new and it's huge. So it's like physically imposing. And I'm like, oh geez. And there's 40 people just standing in a straight line as you walk in business suits. And I'm a little intimidated, but then I'm like, I walked to the end of the people and I was like, "Carolyn, you're a stockbroker, get your stuff together." And I turn around and I asked so Stephanie had told me to ask for Terry. And I go, "Does anyone know where Terry is?" And this gentleman and a woman are like, "Yeah, she's over here in the bakery section." They ended up being part of the cookie team and they escort me over to Terry. And I'm like, "Terry, and I'm just like yelling and throwing cookies at this point. I'm like, "I'm Carolyn. I make gluten-free cookies. I have celiac disease. The cookies on the market are terrible. Try my cookies." And this was a Saturday. Everyone came over and tried my cookies. And I was being onboarded to Whole Foods by Monday. And this was like, I incorporated my company. I'm sorry.
Did they place an order right then?
So first you have to onboard to the system. So that actually took 6 months, thank God, because at this time I was baking cookies in my 24-inch oven in my studio apartment, which is, you can't sell cookies from your apartment. Right. That's not legal. So onboarding took a full 6 months. That's standard. It takes 3 to 6 months in the industry to onboard. And I got my first purchase order January 5th of 2018. So I incorporated my company in April of 2017. I get onboarded onto Whole Foods by July. And then my first order by January.
And they've been selling out
ever since. Yeah. So Whole Foods was just I started with 3 Whole Foods. For the first year, I was making my cookies by hand. So I was still working in finance. I got a job at Edward Jones because they agreed to pay me 90% of my salary at JP Morgan or at my hedge fund. And I was like, okay, let's see how long this lasts. I ended up
wait a minute. On that high note, let's just do a quick break. Again, we urge you, patronize the people that support us because they're good. We wouldn't have them otherwise. We'll be right back with Carolyn, more Mightylicious after this. Don't go away. Good day, everybody. Oh, something special for you. Amazing. Sometimes a great notion comes into the world and causes a shift that benefits everyone. Isn't that wonderful? Everyone benefits. This time it's called Einstein Cares. That's right, like Albert Einstein. EinsteinCares.com. EinsteinCares. EinsteinCares.com. Go there and sign up to be aware of when the site launches. Because guess what this site is all about? Its mission is to give $1 billion to charity without costing any giver a penny. Okay, I'm going to say it again. The mission is to give $1 billion to charity without costing any giver a penny. And it's based upon something everybody loves to do. Shop, have fun, give money at no cost. Go to EinsteinCares.com. It's EinsteinCares.com, and register now so that when the site launches, you will be amongst the first to know about it. So you can shop, earn money, and give money at no cost. What a wonderful world to even be thinking about these things. EinsteinCares.com. Do it today. You'll thank me, and you know you love thanking me. Best wishes. Bye now. Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good-looking people. Remember, you're good-looking, so always looking for finding the good. Have we found good? If you're not enjoying this with Carolyn and Mightylicious, I'm saying the name 3 times now, Mightylicious, that's the name of the cookies. These are fabulous. I eat them. I enjoy them. It's wonderful. But the story is what animates. And it's just fabulous to have quality product that is driven by a mission that is actually beneficial to people. I mean, just think about it. This is the United States of America. And I'm saying this, Carolyn, you don't have to correct me. I think it can only happen here. The genius of America still is that this is opportunity place. This is where things happen. It wouldn't be the same in France or Italy and Germany, and certainly not in China and India. It's just, hey, that's the way it is.
Yep.
And now look what she's bringing to the world.
Yep.
So we only have a few more minutes left for us up, but let's just talk for just 2 or 3 minutes about this whole wonderful thing. By the way, the word joy is a great acronym that stands for Journey of You. How do you like that, Carolyn?
I love that.
Journey of You. Well, that's what this is all about, isn't it? Joy. That's why this.
Absolutely. Yeah. I want to talk about fun, because we've thought FUNN, the 4-letter word. We've thought a lot about the branding, and I put a lot into the artistic value of my packaging and the branding. And it was really important to me that we had a logo that spoke to kids. And the reason for that is when you look at a lot of the brands on the market, they were invented, 10, 20 years ago. But to quote a buyer at Walmart who said this to me, she said, they're very trite. And I was like, I know. And a cookie is fun. A cookie is meant to make you smile. There's no other purpose.
F-U, capital N, capital N.
Then for a cookie, than to make you happy. It's supposed to be a fun thing. It's supposed to be exciting. You're supposed to want to eat a cookie. And I think that the gluten-free and some better for you brands have not embraced that. You don't look forward. I certainly didn't look forward to having a gluten-free cookie. I just stopped eating cookies and baked goods unless I made them myself. And I wanted to bring to the world something that is better for you, that is simple, that is pure, that is clean, that is allergen friendly for everyone, not just people with celiac disease, but the entire allergen community, that they can eat, that they can enjoy, and they can feel safe. But we emphasize fun and joy. We're always safe. I can't even be in a manufacturing facility that has wheat. I am that. I react to it. I understand.
You can inhale it and it can hurt you.
I understand the seriousness of it, but this is an indulgent, fun, satisfying treat that you want to eat, and you should not eat a whole package of.
By the way, Carolyn just described the Joy of Living podcast, didn't you? Fun, joy, and safe.
Yes. And
so we only have a few more minutes. This is just so wonderful. I'm going to ask you 3 questions. Are you ready?
Ready.
First question: will you come back again?
Of course. This has been great.
Okay. Number 2: you only have 80 seconds to answer this question. I think I know the answer, but I'd rather hear it from you. Carolyn, What is your most fervent desire?
Oh, that is such a hard question. I think my most fervent desire is artistic freedom. I want to have an impact on the world that is just driven by my heart. And that requires capital and passion. And that's what I want. I want to I love this company, and I've been doing it for 5 years. I can do it for 10 more years. But I think about when I'm retirement age, I want to have meaningful impact and have the autonomy to decide what that's going to be.
Okay. And the third question: may I give you a hug in
Yes.
front of 372,819 people around the world. Let me tell you what HUG stands for. You ready?
Mhm.
Heartfelt, unlimited giving. On the count of three. 1, 2, 3. And you, blessed people, this show is only about you. Carolyn, she's fabulous. Barry Shaw, what a great guy. But it's all about you being the best you possible. Thank you for making use of your most valuable asset, your time, to tune into the Joy of Living podcast, because we talk about the three fundamentals. We work with them. Your life has purpose. And when you lead a purpose-driven life like wonderful Carolyn, you go mad. You make a difference in the world. And the third is to unlock the power and the secrets of everyday words and terms, and you'll be happier, healthier, and wealthier. WWW. What a wonderful world. Smile. Seeing miracles in life every day. That's what a cookie does. Or like my 8-year-old niece says, you put this on your bag and spell it SMIEL. Seeing miracles in everyday life. Create the kind of world you want to live in, causing rethinking, enabling all to excel. That's what Carolyn did. And she created this shift in perspective, and you got to keep your F in place. All the other stuff happens. Shift your perspective, and then utilize, internalize, and leverage the 6 most important words you'll ever use in your life. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. She chose to heal herself, to think about what could be done, and look what happened within 48 hours, and now moving forward in an important company that brings happiness to people. Use 4-letter words like love, life, hope, free, give, pray, play, swim, and tell the world to F you. Capital N, capital N. So after the show, you see your family and friends, do that. Point your finger with a big smile and say, F you, capital N, capital N. Where'd you get it? Barry Shaw wants to teach the world to F you. Use the 2 most powerful words in the English language 3 times a day, consciously, conscientiously. Thank you, thank you, thank you, to harmonize and network kindness. Everything you want to know about Carolyn and what she's doing, go to barryshore.com, barryshore.com, barryshore.com. It's all going to be there. Share this show with 5 people. I didn't say 50 or 100 or 1,000. Hey, you want to do that? Great. But 5 people will impact 1.5 million people. Keep bringing your family and friends, and give us a great rating, because it is a great show. This is all about you, and it's all about fun. It's all about joy, the journey of you. So wonderful, Carolyn, we're going to give a blessing from Carolyn and Barry. And the blessing is, go forth, live exuberantly, spread the seeds of joy, happiness, peace, and love. Go mad. Go make a difference. Carolyn, don't go away, okay?
Okay.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Joy of Living podcast. Now that's another step towards your healthier, happier, and wealthier life. Never hesitate to do good in the world, no matter what the situation. Join us for another upbeat discussion next time at barryshore.com. And be sure to leave a rating and subscribe to the show to get more conversations like this. And remember to share it with your family and friends too. See you on the next episode.